This is Richard Bluto. I'm doing my persuasive speech about the Pledge of Allegiance and the words "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance. This is Connie Tarbox, my son Austin Bluto, and Ernie Tarbox. How many of you can recite the Pledge of Allegiance? How many know all the words and all the meanings to the words of the Pledge of Allegiance? Don't feel bad, because there's a lot of people in your shoes. If you don't know the whole Pledge of Allegiance, that's the way a lot of this country has gotten over the years. As we have kids and grandkids, our children's going to ask about God, where he came from, where he is, what he's all about. And I hope in my heart that everybody's able to answer them questions without getting lost or ignoring the questions from the kids. Keep our God in the Pledge of Allegiance, to me, is an important thing. It's so that our kids can grow up having respect for our nation the way it has been since the 50s and the 40s, when the pledge was actually made and written into law. I'm a father and a grandfather, and I've dealt with this situation 3 times in the last couple of years. My son has gone to 3 different schools in 2 years from moving around, and each school has been inconsistent with the other about how they deal with the Pledge of Allegiance and the words "under God." The Pledge of Allegiance is the backbone of our nation. Again, it's been around from the 40s. "Under God" was written in the 50s. And it's just been a part of what makes America what it is, and how everybody loves being in this country. I'm going to prove my thesis statement by presenting opinions of the children, of the Supreme Court, and of the Christian community about how they feel about the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's move forward and dive into this topic. Children still want the Pledge of Allegiance and the words "under God" in the school systems. A study in 1992 was on kids from 3 to 8 years old and students in school, mostly. And if they know the words to the Pledge of Allegiance or the meanings of these words. And the kids from in the 3 to 8 age group did not know all of the Pledge of Allegiance, and they didn't know most of the meanings of the words of the Pledge of Allegiance. Also, in the same study, they had a preschooler who quoted this. She said, "With liberty and juice for all." And she also said that what that means is that everybody gets juice and nobody has to pay for it. That's how she felt that the meaning of part of the Pledge of Allegiance was. According to Westheimer in 2007, kids recite the pledge in 25 states by law. A study of 100 middle school students was asked how many want the pledge to stay into the school systems, and 85% of them 100 said that they would prefer keeping the Pledge of Allegiance in the schools. Let's move on to my second point. The court ruled that the words "under God" do not affect anybody's religious rights. So it was a ruling to keep the words "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance. The pledge was written into law in 1945, and the words "under God" was added on Flag Day in 1954. State courts go on both sides of the fence. Some believe in the Pledge of Allegiance being in the schools, some don't. Some believe that the "under God" should be in the Pledge of Allegiance, and some don't. But a Pennsylvania court did a ruling on should kids be disciplined or be forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance in the school systems. A Pennsylvania courts ruled that if a child can't or won't say the Pledge of Allegiance, especially due to religious rights or things along them lines, they cannot be disciplined. Well, the school teachers and officials took it in their own hands to discipline the kids that weren't saying it, and saying that they were causing a disturbance. The disturbance wasn't the kids talking or making noises during the recital. It was that the fact that they weren't saying the recital and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance at all. They called that a disturbance. They went against what the court had ordered. And that's just wrong. We can't go along, none of us. And just because we believe in something, if it's a law against what we believe, we just can't change the law. There was a storm of commotion over all of this from the courts and in the communities. My belief is that both should stay the same. They've been important, and they always will be if we keep it in the schools. And that's bring me to my last point. Christian communities want to keep the words under God in the Pledge of Allegiance for obvious reasons. The funny thing is, even atheists, they will refuse to say the word under God in the pledge, or won't say the pledge at all because of the words under God, but yet they'll recite Christmas carols all about religion, God, Jesus, being the birth of Jesus. No one should be kept quiet on this, though. No matter what your opinion, you should be able to voice that opinion without being having something go against you, or somebody telling you and forcing you to keep quiet. This nation is made of us, all sorts of kinds of people, and we have to live as one nation. But in this nation, we all are supposed to be Americans, and Americans believe in the Pledge of Allegiance. And that brings me to my conclusion. Listen to kids and leave the Pledge of Allegiance in the schools. Listen to the Supreme Court and the ruling about leaving it in the schools. And also listen to our Christian community and back them up. Fight this. I encourage you all to read the Bible and see what God feels about this. Austin? I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all. Thank you.